Daily Bread Podcast. Welcome. I am Aaron Smith. I'm always excited about sharing financial strategies, the strategies that are going to allow you to build on your personal wealth. We're going to have a conversation today about being broke by design, why most budgets don't work. Let me repeat that. And I hope that you are able to provide something to write on, as I'm sharing. If you find something to write with and write on, it makes it much easier for you to be able to retain the information that I'm going to share with you. There's so many podcasts, there's so many TikTok videos that uh, that shares the conversation about building wealth, having conversations about money. But I haven't seen one yet that provides you with solutions. Daily Bread Podcast is not only going to tell you about the concerns and the issues that are going on economically in our community, but what I am going to do with the 34 years of financial planning and business experience, I'm going to tell you how to solve the concerns that are not allowing you to win with money. So, once again, welcome to the Daily Bread. Look here, our conversation today, once again, is going to be about broke by design. Most budgets that you create, if you create a budget, I'm here to tell you that your budget, in all likelihood, is not going to work. It's not going to work because the system, the American economic system, is working against you, even though you have a budget. Not only is the American economic system working against you, you're actually complicit with it. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to break it down for you. So, as I share a few pointers today, I want you, if you will, I want you to engage with me. You can engage uh, by sending a note, uh, chatting here. Um, we're not going to have a conversation back with you just yet. What I want to do in these next few podcasts, I really want to lay a foundation to assist you, to help you get on track so that you can build wealth for yourself and your family. That's the goal. The goal is to bring you to a mindset to help you understand what are the steps that I need to do, Aaron, to build wealth in my family. Whether I want to prepare myself to, to purchase a house or to purchase a car or to prepare myself for retirement or to make sure my children's education is taken care of, right? These are all the things that we want to do financially in our lives. But many times, we're not executing on that because we don't know how. So, welcome to Daily Bread Podcast. So, let's talk about this. Let's talk about, first of all, how do you, Aaron, design broke? How do you design broke? This is how it's designed. And before I go there to the design, let me share this with you as well. This podcast is designed for professionals, for those individuals out there who have extended their education, have gone on and got their bachelor's degrees, master degrees, higher education. Matter of fact, you may even also have gone to trade school. But you're making $150,000 a year to $500,000 a year. I'm talking to you. This podcast is designed for you. And the reason it's designed for you is because you are bringing the income in, and the income that you're bringing in, it doesn't relate to the wealth that you have in your bank account. So we're going to talk about some strategies and some ways that you're making in your household $150,000 a year to $500,000 per year. It doesn't matter if you're a business owner, if you're an attorney, if you're a medical doctor, if you're a nurse, engineer, IT person. It doesn't matter. If you're making that type of income, we're going to share with you why you're not where you should be financially. It's not all your fault, but you are complicit with it. So let's have that conversation. How do you define Aaron broke? Broke is I lost my income. I lost my job, and I can't support all of my needs for 1 year without having another job. Can you do that? If you can't do that, you're broke. Doesn't matter the amount of education that you have, your academic background. If you lose your employment and you are 1 year later without employment, and you can't survive the way you were surviving when you were working, that's how you define being broke. Here's another way to define it. If you have income coming in, if that's $150,000, $500,000 a year income, and you can't replace that income, replace it with other sources of income, you're broke. In other words, if you are dependent, always have to be dependent on one source of income, which is your job, your career. If you're only focused on that and you have no other sources of income, if you lose that income, you're broke. So let's talk about how you win. I'm going to talk about 5 points today on this call. And we're going to talk about broke by design. If you have a budget, the budget not going to help you. The budget is not going to help you. And the reason is because the American economic system is working against you. And I'm going to give you 5 pointers of why, and I'm going to try to give you a few solutions as well. So let's talk about it. First of all, in the Black community, we spend $1.4 trillion per year on goods and services. We don't invest anything. I want you to let that sink in for a second, because I'm going to wrap my conversation around that. $1.4 million that we spend. We're consumers of $1 trillion per year. Goods and services. And we don't invest anything. You know, in my household, even in my household, I went back and I did an audit on where I spend my money. I did an audit. And what was interesting about the audit is that I am spending right now over $5,000 a year just in gifts. I'm like, wow. How are you spending $5,000 in gifts? And I'm not talking about giving away to charity. That's separate. I'm not talking about charity. I'm just talking about giving away in gifts. Weddings. Think about this for a second. Weddings. Baby showers. birthdays. Think about that just for a second. Every time that you get an invitation to a wedding, right, you're likely going to take a gift. If you go to a baby shower, you're probably going to take a gift. That's right. How many gifts or how many invitations are you getting per year? And I want you to think about how much money you spend in gifts. Think about that. And what percentage of that is your salary? See, one of the things that's got to be important about how you create wealth is really understanding how money works. Financial literacy. That's be one of my topics in just a moment. We're going to talk about financial literacy and why it's important for you to know the percentages. What percentage of your gross income do you spend in gifts? Think about that. There's a number that you should not be overspending in gifts. But it works two ways. See, it's two ways that it works. One way is economics, other way is emotional. And what you mean by that, Aaron? Well, what I mean is, well, I invite you to my baby shower. We're going to have a baby shower. I invite you to my baby shower. Well, when I invite you, I'm holding an event, and that event is costing me something. Likely, it used to be that we used to have these events at our home. We're not doing that anymore. We're hiring out all these fancy locations, having our showers. That costs money. That's one side of the coin. On the other side of the coin, the flip side of the coin is that you're inviting, or I'm inviting somebody else to come to the shower. That means that they're already locked into having to pay something to get there. They're paying for the event. Why are they locked in there? Because they are emotionally tied to my relationship with them. So the more baby showers you have, I have, weddings you have, I have, birthday events you have, and I have, and as you're inviting individuals, we're losing on one end as a consumer, and we're losing on the other end as a consumer as well. Now, Aaron does not say don't do these events. What Aaron is saying is, what's the percentage of your annual income are you committed to these events? See, because if you don't have a percentage committed, and that percentage should be 3% of your income. If you're spending more than 3% of your income on these events annually, I don't care what your budget looks like, you're going to be broke. Doesn't matter what your income looks like. Once again, you're going to be broke. So let's talk about this. What are some things? First of all, one of the things that's holding you, challenging you financially, is income inequality. Income inequality. See, I get my bachelor's degree. I go to school and I create debt going to school to get my master's. So I took out student loans to go get my master's. But nevertheless, I got my master's. I even want to increase my education. I want to even get stronger educationally wise. But here's the thing. As an African-American person in this country, you're going to earn 20% less than your counterpart with the same or even more of an advanced degree. Aaron is not saying that you should not go to school and be educated. That's exactly what you should be doing. Number one, you should be doing that. But you should know how to negotiate your salary. You have to trust, believe, be confident in your gifts and your talents. So many of us are allowing ourselves to be compensated 20% less than our counterparts. They're not even more as qualified as you are because we have a fear of negotiation. See, the thing that's important about financial planning, business strategies, business planning is that understanding what your worth is so important. And in our community, for centuries, for centuries, we have been taught to have low self-esteem. We've been taught that you don't ask for what you're really worth. We accept what's given to us. I am always excited about sharing this information because there are some things that you can do about it. So income inequality is a real thing. And it's holding you back for building the wealth that you desire in your household. Let's talk about this as well. I said it a little before, financial literacy. When you're educated, and I'm speaking from experience here, once again, if you're just first tuning into Daily Bread podcast and you are just meeting me for the first time, I want to share with you that I have become educated over the years. I have a bachelor's degree, sociology. I have a minor in economics. I have a master's in business. I have an MBA. I've gone on and I've learned more about personal finances, and none of those degrees had nothing to do with it. It was the relationships that I built, their learning that I established, created, understood, been around, that helped me build wealth and help others do the same thing. So education is important, but it's got to be more than education. It's also got to be your lane. 150,000 to 500,000 household income professionals, higher education. You have something that's working against you. It's called financial literacy. See, where you're very talented in what you do, you have a great skill set. You're gifted at what you do. You're not financial literate. What's saving you from financial demise is your income, is your education. When that income stops, when that income is taken away, how do you manage financially? Many of you can. Those who can, congratulations, but many of you can't. And what's so amazing about financial literacy? Now, let's go back, talk about financial literacy for 1 second. Think about it. For all the education that you have, all the education that you have, were you ever taught about money? Were you ever taught about personal finance? Were you ever communicated in your elementary, high school, and even your college or university? Did they ever teach you anything about personal finance? Mm-mm. In most cases, no. You learned it on the fly. You learned it on the go. You made mistakes along the way. Unfortunately, many of us are still making errors, and in a lot of cases, we don't even know it. We don't even recognize when we're making bad financial decisions. And when we are, and we know we're making bad financial decisions and we want to correct it, we don't know where to go. Typically, we go to the people that we love, our friends, our colleagues, our pastor, our parents, our friends, and we get advice from them. Oh, they're financial literate too. How are they going to give it to you? How are they going to solve your financial problems? See, financial literacy is one of the main courses, main reason that we're broke by design. By design. Think about this for a second. And I remember this myself. When I wanted to go to college, there were a certain number of credits I needed to have. 6 of those credits was a foreign language. Before I could even be accepted to go to a high university in this country, a foreign language. Aaron is not saying a foreign language is bad. Matter of fact, hablo español. I think having a foreign language, understanding a second language is a fantastic thing. However, how many of you remember anything about the foreign language or use it every single day right now? But you have to have these credits to go to college. Here's the point I'm making. Why didn't they teach you about personal finances? See, personal finances is a foreign language too. Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. It takes years to be proficient, efficient, confident in your personal finances. In most cases, you need to be coached on how to make the decisions that you're trying to make with your money as it relates to the personal financial goals that you're trying to accomplish. In other words, you have to have a game plan. How can you have a game plan? How can you execute a game plan if you're not financially literate? If you don't understand standard deviation, if you don't understand asset allocation, if you don't understand tax allocation, if you don't understand tax deferred, tax free, if you don't understand amortization, how are you going to put a strategy together to help you reach your financial goals? It's almost impossible. But what you are proficient in, you are proficient in your skill set, in your gift, and you're rewarded with the income that you receive. But when the income stops, there is where the problem comes in. Also, there's some historical disparities in our community. They already are planted, already set against you to win. Even if you try and you want to create a budget and you want to be successful financially, you're going to have resistance. Historically, there are things that happen to us in our community. Redlining. That's something that happens in our community. You know, there was a story I saw recently about a Black couple living in a white neighborhood. They were going to sell their property, their home. Sell their home. And obviously, as we sell our homes, we want to sell our homes at a competitive price range with every other home alike that are like our home in the community. There was an appraiser who appraised their property. 30% less value appraisal, folks, than the community. That's a disparity. That's for real. How do you recognize that? How do you understand that? How do you protect yourself against that? It's almost difficult, much harder to do that if you're not financially literate. Boy, the daily bread, man, I'm going to bring it to you. I am going to bring this stuff to you rock hard. I'm going to bring it to you in a way that is going to allow you to build your understanding of where we are economically in this country, how economics work in this country, how economics work against you in this country. And if you hang in there with me week to week, I am confident that you will become better financially. Your kids will become financially better. It's not going to be just the education, folks, that you're going to win. You're not going to win by just being more educated. You're going to win by being educated, and you're going to win by having wealth. You're going to win by having money. Can you imagine, with your talents and your skills and your knowledge and your income, if you can say, wow, Aaron, not only do I have those things, but I got a couple $1 million sitting in my investment. I have $5 million sitting in my investment. I have $10 million sitting in my investment. Could you imagine? Put those things, put both of them together and see how powerful you are. Hard for us to do that because of income inequality, access to financial education, historical disparities against us, income equality. Oh my gosh, that's an easy one to win against. That's easy. But you got to change your mindset. Think about this for a second. You got one source of income coming in every month. Why don't you have two? Why don't you have three? Why don't you have four? Why don't you have five? You're financially capable. Why don't you have it? Why don't you have rental income? That's another source of income. Why don't you have two sources of two pieces of rental property? That's three sources of income. Got your full-time job. You got two sources of income from real estate. How about dividends coming from your investments? You get the dividend check every month. Oh my gosh. God got so many ways of creating streams of income that's going to allow you to build your best life. What if one of those sources of income is not in season right now? In other words, Aaron, I lost my income. I lost my job. It's not in season right now. I lost my income. Nope, no problem. You got three other sources of income. That's freedom. Daily Bread podcast is going to teach you freedom, peace of mind, comfort, maintaining your good health, bringing your health back to good health. Strengthening your spirituality. Family. Maintaining your independence. Emergency expenses. That's another impediment. Mm-hmm. Emergency expenses. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. What happens? What happens if you need a new refrigerator? Mm-hmm. Do you go put it in your credit card? You don't have the cash in the bank to pay for it. Emergency. Emergency. Three times your gross salary. Three. Not six, not 10, just three. Then you should have a line of credit, a home equity line of credit, cash available on your mortgage for emergency. I'm going to break and I'm going to talk about all these different topics during my weekly podcast. I'm going to break them down. I'm going to be specific in each area and I'm going to give you tools. I'm going to give you tools how to win financially. And I want you to trust this. I want you to trust this. As good as you are in your profession, I'm as good as you are in my profession. I'm going to share with you how to win financially. The only thing that I ask is that you're open minded. I'm going to give you resources to go to. I'm going to provide resources for you. I'm going to help you teach your children how to be financially savvy. I'm going to teach you how to create businesses. Once you create the business, I'm going to teach you how to run your business. Not only, not only have I coached, prepared, educated thousands of people over 34 years how to build wealth financially in their household, I'm also gifted and skilled in how to run businesses, how to build businesses, how to have your family enjoy engagement with you in business. Do you have a desire to go in business with your daughter? Do you have a desire to go in business with your son? Have you have a desire to go in business with your spouse? We're going to talk about those things and how you win when you do that. Not win only in family, but also win in finances. That's what Daily Bread Podcast is going to be about. Cultural factors. Cultural factors are a big deal. They're called money scripts in the Black community. There are money scripts. I'm going to talk about these money scripts too. That's going to be the foundation, the psychology of money. The foundation is what we're going to talk about as we build on your knowledge and understanding. Because they're money scripts, right? In our community, many times we're taught that money is evil. That's a money script. Think about that for a second. If you think that money is evil, you're not going to have none. It's going to repel from you. You may hoard money. You hold on to everything that you have. You're a hoarder. That's a money script, right? Fake it till you make it. You got the finest cars. You got the biggest house. Y'all with me now? Huh? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. You want to fake it till you want to look good on the outside, but your bank account tells a different story. That's a money script. See, it's nothing to be embarrassed about this stuff. We're going to show you how you take your money scripts, because many of us have, all of us have money scripts, and some of us have multiple money scripts. And I'm going to talk to you how you bring that to an opportunity for you to win financially. Your money script, right? Think about our culture, right? Think about that for a second. One of the things that you do in your household is a cultural thing, and it's causing you to be financially challenged. That's what we're going to talk about in this podcast. I'm going to also give some tips every single day. I'm going to give a tip, Daily Bread, about money. Once again, this podcast is for your high income earners, professional individuals. If you're a judge, tune in. I got experience working with judges, an attorney, you're a medical doctor, nurse, business owner, business owner, highest income earners out there, business owners. And many of my business owners, conversations we have, the most valuable asset they own. They may have stocks and bonds. Mhm. They may have real estate. The largest value of the asset they have is their business. And many of them never got a valuation on their business. They don't know what their business is valued at. And what's so interesting, working with businesses for many, many years, I've had businesses that were very valuable businesses. Valuable business. No succession plan. The owner gets sick or the owner passes away. And their children are struggling. The children are struggling because they didn't have a succession and pass the business on or sell the business for the value of the business. And guess what? Someone else comes in, they understand the value of the business, and they steal it. Gosh, we got to stop this. Our not understanding of financial literacy and money, our money scripts, the inequality that we get in this country when it comes to income, the disparities that we have in our community every single day when it comes to money, how the American economic system is working against us and we're complicit with it. We want to do something about that. Once again, thanks for tuning in this evening. Next week, we're going to talk about the credit score scam. The credit score scam. And I'm going to tell you what they're not telling you. And I'm going to show you how to win. I'm going to have a guest, Michelle. Michelle Braxton will be my guest. She's a banker for many years. We talk all the time. We talk about these scams, how the banking institutions are taking your money. And we need to know how to combat that. We're going to have that conversation next week. Thanks for tuning into Daily Bread Podcast. God bless you. We look forward to talking to you next time. We'll see you next.